Today, we are going to hear an inspiring real life story of Nikita Rawat, a visually impaired HR professional and currently the youngest assistant general manager working with the public sector bank, Bank of Baroda. With more than 10 plus years of experience, Nikita is a national award winner and has won many awards like 40 under 40 winner of the HR award, achiever of excellence award by Bombay Management Association. She received national felicitation for outstanding contribution in the areas of excellence in management studies and singing. She Nikita has done her MBA and MMS from a very reputed institute, JBIMS, Jamnalal Bajaj Institute of Management Studies, and currently she is pursuing her PhD in HR management. Now, are you already wondering how she manages being at such a senior position in HR without being able to see anything in real life? No sight, but a great vision. That's going to be the story of Nikita Rawat. And let's find out about this journey from Nikita herself. Over to you, Nikita.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Supriya ji, and the entire team of Bombay Management Association. I hope I'm audible and visible loud and clear.
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you. So, first of all, a very, very warm good evening to all those who have joined today this virtual webinar. And let me put on record my gratitude to Mrs. Kavita, Dr. Kavita Lagate, for inviting me here on this webinar today. Just before I start my journey, I thought let me definitely acknowledge Dr. Kavita Lagate has been very, very instrumental in my life. She's been my mentor at JBMS. She was my professor. And also Mrs. Chaya Seigelman. She was also my professor and my mentor. I'm so happy that through this platform, we could once again connect, though we are connected separately. So it's really indeed an honor and a pleasure for me to be here. Friends, as I was sort of given the brief for this particular webinar today, my Kavita ma'am specifically told me to share my own life journey, my own story, and so that's what today I'm going to be doing. And then somebody from the team asked me whether I have a PowerPoint presentation to share. To which my reply was that no, I don't have any PowerPoint presentation to share because this story of mine cannot be scripted into any sort of a PowerPoint presentation. It has to come straight from my heart and probably touch your hearts. So I will definitely, be very extempore or be spontaneous in what I speak. And I hope that is okay with all of you. Right. So, beginning my journey, let me take all of you down the memory lane about a little more than 36 years ago. That's when I was born, 1985, and I also told you all my age. So basically, I was born into a very traditional Punjabi North Indian family. My parents were residing in Mumbai, though they hailed from different part of the North India. But after their marriage, they had settled down in Mumbai, and they already had two daughters. I have two elder sisters. So basically, wise my parents were, and they had decided that she can now two hum do hamare do wali policy. So we are contented with the two daughters we have. It's okay even if there is no son. We are fine with a short and a sweet family. But good old those days, there used to be a lot of pressure and a lot of craze for having a male child, right? There has to be a son in the family, and therefore my parents kept on getting this pressure from probably all corners of the family members. So there were a lot of pressure saying that definitely you must go in for a third child so that there is a son. Ultimately, after a couple of years, my parents had to give in to that pressure, and that's how I was born, exactly almost 7 years after my after the birth of my elder sister, my second number sister. Now, when I was born on 6th February 1985, you all can imagine this sort of dismay or the shock that not just my parents but the other members in the family, the so-called the older generation, would have gone through when they heard from the doctor that, oh, it's a girl child again. In Punjabi, they say, they said that, oh, fir to kudi hui hai. And, oh, again, it's a girl child. So, definitely it was a very, very, what do you say? It was more like a sad incident rather than rejoicing over a birth of a newborn baby. Everybody sort of was more sad, and they said that, अरे यार इससे अच्छा तो ना ही करते third child तो better होता. All of those things. So, however, my parents, were, were quite practical, and they were, they are, in fact, the God sent people, I feel. And I'll tell you how and what makes me feel that eventually when we go ahead in the journey. So they sort of accepted me, and they said, no worries. So what if she's a girl? Ultimately, she is our child, and God has given her to us. So we will love her. We will treat her the way we have been treating our other two daughters. Till then, till then, nobody knew that I cannot see. Okay. Please note, because my eyes almost looked normal, and I think they still do look normal. So nobody could actually make out that, okay, she's a girl, that is fine, but then this girl is 100% blind by birth. Until I actually turned a couple of months old, my parents started noticing that there is some difference in the way I look at things. They could not figure out what the issue could be. They took me to a couple of doctors, rather a lot of doctors, and many doctors, gave different theories. Some of them said, oh, she's weak, she's too tiny, that is why probably her eyes are also weak and she doesn't look in the right direction, etc., etc. So my parents waited and watched, but their suspicion or their doubt grew very strong when I started crawling. Maybe I was some 7 or 8 months old, like a normal child starts crawling. When I started crawling, I would just go and bump into something that is ahead of me, obviously, because I could not see from my eyes. So then my parents took me to an ophthalmologist to see that they probably guessed that there may be some issue with the eyes, but definitely not 100% blindness. They thought, हो सकता है मेरी आंखों का चश्मे का number हो, whatever. Uh, the sky fell on them as if, उनके पैरों तले जमीन खिसक गई when the doctor, one of the very big ophthalmologists in India, when he said to my parents that, I'm sorry, your daughter is 100% blind and she is blind by birth. None of the doctors could make this out. My parents absolutely shattered and did not know what to do, because abhi to, they were not, still they were not out of the pressure of the family members that, oh, again, the mother has given birth to a baby girl. And then on top of it, this sort of a challenge that, oh, this baby girl is completely blind. So did not know what to do. When the other family members got to know, they, kept their fingers in the mouth that, oh, we wish we wouldn't have pressurized this couple to go for a third child. Some of them were rude enough to even tell my parents that, okay, anyway, she's a girl and she cannot see. Why don't you just go and dump her into an orphanage? Or why don't you just go and put her into some hostel or something? जहाँ से किसी गुरुद्वारे में जाके छोड़ाओ, किसी मंदिर के पास जाके छोड़ाओ. Some of them said, ठीक है कोई बात नहीं, accept the fate of the reality and keep her at home. दो टुकड़े खा के पलती रहेगी, nothing could actually convince my parents, obviously, because they definitely were very sure that they are not going to do any injustice with me, even though I'm blind, even though I'm a girl, but whatever it is, they decided that since I'm their daughter and I'm given to them by the God, they will do whatever requires for them to ensure that I get a good life. And I really thank my parents for this initial thought. Now, with a very positive intent in the mind of giving me a very good life, they began to sort of come in terms with what can be done. अब ब्लाइंड बच्चे को पूरा पूरी जिंदगी पालना कैसे है, इसे पढ़ाना कैसे है, and what sort of a role, and how basically the how part was a biggest challenge कि कैसे करना है वो तो पता है, but कैसे करना है नहीं पता. आज के टाइम पे today we have Google, today we have so many things, there is so much of awareness everywhere, there's so much of sort of acceptance everywhere. But those times it was very difficult. I mean, there were no schools which were ready to admit a fully blind child. Basically, a physically handicapped or a blind child was inertly even viewed as a stigma to the society, or viewed as a stigma in the family. So my parents didn't know kaise karna hai. On one hand, there was a lot of pressure building about my eyes treatment, because they wanted to leave no stone unturned to make sure that I get my eyesight back. And on the same time, in the same time, while they were struggling, taking me around to many doctors, giving me different sort of treatments, may it be acupuncture, acupressure, or operating my eyes, or even taking me to mandirs and gurudwaras, or maybe babas and priests, etc. कि कहीं से तो कुछ अच्छा हो जाए. एक तरफ से ये प्रेशर था, दूसरी तरफ से आई वाज ऑलरेडी इनटू माय टॉडलर एज, आई वाज अराउंड 2 or 3 years by then. So the pressure was that now we have to get her admitted in the school. So how do we do that? When they inquired about my admission in the schools in the vicinity, starting with the school where my elder two sisters went, all the schools would just reply saying that no, we understand that your daughter may be very smart, very sharp and everything, but the fact that she is blind, we don't even want to interview her, we don't even leave about thinking of giving her an admission, we don't even want to waste our time interviewing her. So my parents were absolutely what do you say, dejected, depressed, etc. Meanwhile, some well-wisher, suggested that there is a blind hostel in Mumbai. Why don't my parents try to admit me there, and so that I can study along with the other blind students and live with them as well. Now, my parents did not know; they didn't have many options, so they had to accept this proposal. And they took me to one of the blind hostels in Mumbai. I will definitely not name that hostel to maintain the respect for that institute. But let me tell you, friends, when my parents took me there, they stayed with me for one day to observe the environment out there. And, at the end of the first day itself, they felt so helpless, and they decided that nothing doing, we will keep our daughter at home, and we'll ensure, or we'll somehow manage to give her education, etc. But we definitely not put her here, because that hostel was more like an orphan. कोई बाहर से आके बच्चों को खाना देगा तो बच्चों को खाना मिलेगा, वरना नहीं मिलेगा. So all of those things. And then when my parents got me home, just imagine the plight of my mother. She hit the bed for about 15 days, and she went into a depression. So negative was the impact of that environment out there. Ultimately, a ray of hope came, and I always believe that God helps them, those who help themselves. So because my parents had an intention of helping, this NAB, National Association for the Blind, it's an organization which works towards the betterment of the blind individuals. So somebody connected my parents to that organization, and luckily, as God's good plan, that very year, the NAB had a strategy or an aim or an objective to ensure that the normal schools in the city start admitting persons or students with blindness. So this was an initiative known as the integrated education, which NAB had taken on to their shoulders. And they definitely ensured my parents that, you don't worry, we'll get her admission in some good school which can, take care of her. So just a year ago, there was a school which is little far away from my house, which was sort of started, and they had then agreed to take me or admit me as a student. Now imagine, of course, it was a very good thing that I got admission finally. But just imagine the plight, because the school was new. It was just operated in maybe one small room to begin with. Of course, today it's a huge building in Mulund. The school was new. The teachers did not know how to handle a blind student. They've never had the experience of even dealing with a blind person. My parents didn't know how they're going to teach me to write ABCD, and I did not know what is happening around me. So I, as a child, of course, I was too small to understand what is happening. What does it actually mean टू बी ब्लाइंड? लोग मुझे क्यों कहते हैं कि मैं अंधी हूँ? लोग क्यों मुझे देख के रोते हैं? मेरे पेरेंट्स मुझे देख के क्यों रोते हैं? There used to be so many questions that used to hover my mind. But at the same time, I definitely, over a period of time, I understood that there is something special in me, probably because there is something that is not there in me. Okay. And therefore, I have to be prepared to sort of uh, give give my 100% effort, or maybe मुझे ज़्यादा मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. So with that, gradually my mind started becoming very, very strong. But I was a very sensitive child, extremely sensitive child. Um, there used to be times when people would, I would overhear people talking about me, and people also saying कि अरे तुम्हारा तो इसका तो नसीब ही खराब है, and all of those things, and I was just quickly go down into the bathroom, lock myself up, and start crying because I didn't know what to do. At the same time, I was also very, very sure that nobody should see me cry. मुझे किसी को अपने आंसू दिखाने नहीं है. So with this, I kept on sort of growing. Now I got my admission in the school. Coming back, I learned the Braille Lipi. So Braille Lipi, as you must be knowing, is the Lipi of dots. You touch and you can read what is written. So my NAB teacher started teaching me Braille. I started to learn. I picked up very fast. It's just like बाकी बच्चों को जैसे आप लोग पेन पेपर से ABCD लिखना सिखाते हो, वैसे ही I was taught to write Braille with some special apparatus. My mom also learned, but my mom jokingly tells me even today कि अरे मैं पूरे दिन में एक लेटर सीख पाती थी ब्रेल का, और तुम 1-2 मिनट में एक लेटर सीख लेती थी. तो मैं रोती रहती थी, बट तुम्हें अच्छे से आ गया. So then I stopped learning it. Anyways, then coming back to my school again, I mean, the school journey I'm going to describe a lot because that laid the foundation of what I am today. In the classroom, it used to be quite a struggle for me because definitely बाकी बच्चे, एक तो social pressure बहुत handle करना पड़ता था, जिससे मुझे बाकी लोग अलग चीजें बोलते थे. Similarly, the children, the students, the classmates around, they were also kids, so they thought that I'm a new toy for them. हाँ, बिकॉज आई के नॉट सी, मैं हर चीज को हाथ लगा के छू के पता करती हूँ. मैं ब्रेल में लिखती हूँ. मैं देख नहीं पाती ठीक से, तो हर एक every time somebody has to hold my hand and take me. So for them, I was more a piece of entertainment or a toy. So the children would also come in. कोई आके मुझे से मार के भाग जाता था, कोई आके मुझे मेरे बाल खींच के भाग जाता था, या कोई आके मुझे अंधी अंधी चिढ़ा के भाग जाता था. So it used to be so painful for me at that point of time कि मेरे साथ क्यों करते हैं लोग ऐसा? Why? I used to sort of keep asking God that why me? Why is it that rest everybody is so normal, and why is it that every time I am being, treated this way? But then, it was like for me, since my childhood, I've always been that, ठीक है, अगर मेरे पास एक चीज नहीं है, if I don't have one thing, if there is an adversity somewhere, let me ensure and let me see how, what sort of an opportunity can I create out of it, so that this adversity of mine is not, so predominant. Like as a child also, maybe around 7 8 years old, when I was in first or second standard, I started realizing, and I started working towards this. um, I always had this feeling that यार अभी तो सब लोग मुझे बुलाते हैं, अच्छा निकिता वो जो जिसे दिखता नहीं है, वो जो अंधी है. I said, this cannot and should not be my identity. People should not know me by somebody who is blind. People should actually know me by somebody. अच्छा निकिता वो जो टॉपर है, या निकिता वो जो बहुत अच्छा बोलती है, या निकिता वो जो who's always got the first prize. So for me, the identity had to be changed completely. And as right since my childhood, I had a lot of habit of doing so much of self talk with myself. So I used to always think that I know, while the other children have to maybe put in 100% of efforts in their studies or in their extracurricular activities, because I cannot see, I probably have to put not 100% but 200% efforts, and for which I'm ready to do so. So then, I resolved that मुझे हमेशा क्लास में फर्स्ट आना है, मुझे हमेशा एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर एक्टिविटीज में पार्टिसिपेट करना है. So then each day in the school, it was full of challenge, but the challenge would appear in the beginning of the day, but when I would reflect back at the end of the day, each of the challenge ultimately came up to me, or I perceived it as an opportunity or as a new learning. I started writing my examinations using the help of a writer, a scribe. So basically, a writer is somebody who is supposed to be less qualified than the candidate. So it was very, very challenging. Just imagine if I was in fourth standard, a third standard child would sit down and write my paper. एंड थर्ड स्टैंडर्ड चाइल्ड से आप क्या एक्सपेक्ट करोगे? वो स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक्स भी करेगा, उसको एग्जाम के बीच में अपनी मम्मा की भी याद आएगी, उसको एग्जाम के बीच में भूख और प्यास भी लगेगी, उसको बाथरूम भी जाना होगा, और फिर you have to actually maintain so much of patience, because there are times when I remember I used to lose marks because of the mistake of my writer. If I'm saying if he or she would write is. So gradually, then I thought that no, there is no point in cribbing about this. This error is going to be there. But rather than cribbing about writer galtiyan karta hai, let me be thankful that at least this child who's writing my paper, God bless him, at least he's writing my paper. वो मेरे लिए मेहनत कर रहा है. So then I started making a strategy that okay, assuming I want to earn about 100 out of 100 marks, okay, and assuming that 5 marks I'm going to lose because of the mistakes of my writer, at least the other 95 marks are going to be there in my hand. So definitely for that 95% of marks, I should be so thorough with my lessons that I don't lose any marks on account of my less preparation. So that is how things kept on going. I started becoming more firm, more ambitious, and gradually, one thing that I really developed as a hobby was music, and also the oratory skills. So how did I do that? Now there used to be times in the school when बाकी बच्चे खेलने जाते थे, we used to have those PT programs, PT lectures, physical training lectures or play lectures. So the children would not take me out to play with them. So I would always sit down and cry कि मुझे बच्चे खेलने क्यों नहीं लेके जाते अपने साथ. ना स्कूल के बच्चे लेके जाते हैं, ना घर में सोसाइटी में बिल्डिंग के बच्चे लेके जाते हैं. So when I would actually ask them that why is it that you don't go down to play with me, the unanimous reply that I would always get is, nahi, because we cannot play with you. तुम अंधी हो, तुम्हें दिखाई नहीं देता, और हमारे पेरेंट्स ने बोला है कि अगर तुम गिर जाओगी या तुम्हें लग जाएगा तो टीचर हमें पनिश करेगी या हमारे पेरेंट्स हमें डांटेंगे, तो हम तुम्हारे वजह से डांट नहीं खाएंगे. So initially it used to really hurt me a lot. But then I said, ठीक है, कोई बात नहीं, अगर मैं अकेली हूँ ना, क्लासरूम में बैठी हूँ, let me practice singing, let me practice speaking in front of the audience. So I used to do that. In fact, when my summer vacations used to come, at that time the children would not play with me, so every day I used to get bored. One fine day, I decided, I picked up my bag, my small bag, and I told Papa that, Papa, मैं घर पे बोर हो जाती हूँ. I told my father, चलो, I will come with you to the office. Okay. So my father had a business. Unfortunately, my father expired a couple of months ago. So he had a business, and he started taking me along with him to his office so that at least मेरा time pass हो जाए. Now see how the adversity turned into an opportunity. When I started going to office, I was in 6th standard, I think, when I first started going with him. In just about a few days, I realized that the office work and the office environment really attracts me. And I had also started picking up some work from him and started, sort of helping him in whatever little that I could do. So there got germinated my dream of becoming a corporate woman. Okay, so I used to always visualize myself that कुछ सालों बाद जब मैं बड़ी हो जाऊंगी, जब बाकी बच्चे इधर उधर खेल रहे होंगे, या जब बाकी लेडीज की शादी हो जाएगी, जब वो अपने घर पे घर का काम कर रहे होंगे, I mean, as a kid I was just thinking all of that. तब मैं इस ऑफिस में पापा की जैसी बड़ी सी चेयर पे बैठूंगी, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू बिकम अ कॉर्पोरेट वुमन, मे बी इन माय डैड्स बिजनेस और मे बी इन सम अदर बिग फैक्ट्री, big organization. So from there, started my passion for the entrepreneurship or corporate environment altogether. Going forward, I had sort of made up my mind very clearly. While I was in 10th standard, when I was in 10th standard, I was very sure that after my 10th standard, I'm going to be taking commerce. And ultimately, see, those days we did not know so much about MBA, etc. Management courses इतने ज़्यादा prevalent नहीं थे. But the only thing we knew was 10th के बाद commerce करेंगे, commerce BCom के बाद CA करेंगे, CA करके अच्छी सी job करेंगे. This was my career plan in the mind. Now, I was a very, very meritorious student. Even in 10th standard, I stood in the merit. And I had good percentage. So I was very sure कि commerce में admission लेने में तो मुझे कोई दिक्कत होगी नहीं. I'll not face any difficulty. But things were different. Life took a little bit of U-turn there. A lot of my well-wishers, including my teachers, my parents, NEP teachers, etc., they dissuaded me from taking commerce, stating that you cannot see and you have to use a writer for your examination. Commerce में कुछ subjects ऐसे होते हैं, like those financial managements and all of those, which requires a lot of visual reading. Like you have to see a balance sheet to understand it. You have to see a P&L or a funds flow or a cash flow statement, the format, to understand how it is drawn up. So how will you do that? So this was a very genuine concern at that point of time. And for me, it was quite a heartbreaking because, I had really made up my mind that I'm going to become a corporate woman. And it was like a dream shattering down. So people said that you're so good in theory, why don't you take up arts and maybe you can do your BA or a B.Ed, and then we'll decide what is good for you. Maybe you can become a telephone operator, or you can become a teacher, or whatever. So I said, okay, I was not so matured enough to, take decision against the advice of everybody. So I took up arts. I got admission 11th and 12th. I did very well in my arts. Even in 12th standard, I was a merit student because I was like, जो करना है उसको पूरी शिद्दत से करना है, उस पे पूरा अपनी जी जान डाल के करना है. Meanwhile, I developed some flair for the subject called psychology, which was there for me at a very elementary level in 11th and 12th standard. So I thought, okay, if not the corporate woman, maybe I can do my master's in psychology and become a counselor. Okay. Towards the end of my 12th standard, however, something within me told me that नहीं यार, ये सब बहुत अच्छा है, बट वो अंदर से जो किक मिलनी चाहिए ना, वो एक बूस्ट मिलना चाहिए, वो नहीं मिल रहा. सो इट वाज एज इफ अंतरात्मा की आवाज मुझे कह रही थी कि मुझे कुछ और करना है. और जस्ट बिकॉज आई एम ब्लाइंड, that doesn't mean that I can let my dream die its own death. I tried finding out मुझे करना क्या है. And this I'm talking about year 2002, 2003. And I found out that Mumbai University had just introduced the course called Bachelor's of Management Studies, which is a graduation in management. And when I saw the syllabus of that particular course, for 3 years course, I jumped with joy and I said, this is exactly what I want to do. And I will be definitely doing this. I found out that exactly maybe 18 or 20 days later, this course, for getting admission into this course, we'll have to give an entrance exam. And the exam is scheduled exactly 20 days later. So I have to really rush. Like we have the entrance exam for MBA, BMS during that time had an entrance exam. I think now it is waived off. So I thought that agar entrance exam dena hai, to definitely I'll have to seek permission from the authorities to utilize the services of a writer. And for which I went to the concerned department in the Mumbai University. And you won't imagine, I still remember that experience so clearly because again, all these events were life-turning events for me. The moment I entered the department, right from the frontline clerk who sits to distribute the form to the director of that or the HOD of the department, everybody had only one sentence on their lips saying that, "Tum ye course, you cannot do this course. How can a blind person do such a difficult course like a bachelor's in management studies?" So I finally remember that the director, the head of the department then, I sat with her for about 15-20 minutes and with a very great difficulty, I convinced her that please at least allow me to give my entrance exam, whether to take admission, not take admission, या मैं ये कोर्स कर पाऊंगी या नहीं कोर्स कर पाऊंगी, इसको हम बाद में देखते हैं. But अभी के लिए, since I don't have much time, please allow me to use the services of a writer and give the entrance exam. Her concern was that none of the blind student has ever done this kind of a course. इसमें बहुत challenges होते हैं, इसमें industrial visits होती हैं, and so many things, you will not be able to do this course. Don't spoil your career. I said, madam, again with folded hands, I somehow convinced her कि आप मुझे exam देने दीजिए. अच्छा, then she had a doubt, or maybe people in her department had a doubt कि मैं तो blind हूँ. I don't know how people equate blindness or physical disability with low IQ. So they said, okay, we'll ensure that the writer does not help you write your exam. Matlab, he doesn't prompt you with the answers. I said, no, I will definitely not require that. So she said, while the other people, a batch of maybe 60-70 people would have one invigilator, for you, we'll make you sit separately in one room and there'll be two invigilators invigilating you. I said, okay, no problem, done, accepted. Then the next thing was that we will not be changing any question for you. So there are in that entrance exam, there were about 10 to 15% of such questions, which one has to or one cannot answer without looking at them, like the data interpretation or the visual reasoning, etc. So of course now rules have been really very flexible and now there are alternative questions given to a blind candidate, but that time like, we will not be giving you any alternative questions. If you don't clear the paper, it is on your own responsibility. I said, okay, no problem. So for me, it was not a win-win situation, but then I knew at that point of time that I don't have an option. I have to accept everything that they say. So I again had strategized. I'm somehow very fond of strategizing things, especially when there are adversities. So I just told myself that, okay, I have maybe 19-20 days in hand. Any which ways, I'm not a superwoman or a supercomputer to be thorough in every subject. So this 20% of the paper, which is not in my control, which I cannot write because of my blindness, let me completely forget about this portion. But the 80% that's there in my hand, let me prepare so well for it so that I get full marks in this and I get good marks for the entrance exam. And I did exactly the same. I was so focused for those 15-16 days that I had in my hand. And then ultimately, I got success in the entrance exam. Got good enough marks, not very high marks, good enough marks for me to secure admission in the college of my choice. So when I went to the college there in Mulund, again the same history repeated what had happened in the university department, but this time I was prepared. Okay, so this time I was prepared, and therefore I directly went to the dean. I convinced, as a sir, I know no blind student has done this course, but I want to do it. So in my mind, friends, honestly, I had also this aim that this course is not just going to help me, but I also wanted to open doors of opportunity for other blind people. कब तक ऐसा होगा कि कोई blind बच्चा ये course नहीं करेगा? Let किसी को तो शुरुआत करनी है, so let me be the one, and then let me open doors for others. Uh, for the dean also, he had a lot of concerns. Presentation kaise banaogi, industrial visits kaise karogi, and secondly, agar if you're not able to do this course, हमारे college का result 100% नहीं आएगा, and we don't want to lose that 100% result because of you. So then again, I said, ठीक है sir, I was well prepared, and I said, let's strike a deal. And he was like, what sort of deal? I said, don't worry. I'm not going to give you anything under the table. I was bold enough to say this to him. I said, sir, let's strike a deal. You give me the opportunity to, attend first year, uh, observe me for the first year. If you feel that at the end of the year that I'm not able to cope up this course, you give me living certificate. I will go back to my arts. At the most, what? मैं एक साल बर्बाद करूंगी, कोई बात नहीं. I will go back to arts and I will not continue here. But if you feel that no, I will be able to do this course, then indicate, and I will take admission in the second year. He said, okay, very reluctantly, he accepted. There was no grounds that he could say no to me. Now just imagine, कई बार भगवान भी परीक्षा लेते हैं. So the very first session after the customary introductory, ceremony of the course, when the college started, the very first lecture was a lecture because of which, lecture of the subject, because of which I was dissuaded to take commerce. This was the subject that is financial management or cost accounting. I don't exactly remember the name of the subject, but it was related to accounts. And just imagine, friends, I was actually frightened. I was so scared. I was frozen completely. I said, "Arey, ye itni jaldi aa jayega?" But that scare of mine was only 1 minute, for 1 minute. Then I just, came in terms with myself and I said, "Nahi, ये तो शुरुआत है. बहुत बड़ी बड़ी बातें की थी सबके आगे. इतनी जल्दी डर जाऊंगी तो कैसे होगा? ये तो शुरुआत है. अपने बड़े पिक्चर को, बड़े गोल को ध्यान में रखना है. And kuch nahi hota. I have to just be true and sincere to what I can do." And I still remember that session. I promised myself that even though I don't understand or I don't hear a single word from my teacher, if at all she's writing everything on the blackboard, it is absolutely okay. I'm still going to give my 200% attention, and God is going to help me. So I sat on the first seat. And after the lecture, um, my accounts teacher, who is again one of my mentors even today, she came up to me and, like a mother, she just kept her hand on my head and said, my child, I understand that you are 100% blind and that this subject is not going to be easy for you. I said, yes, ma'am, absolutely. But at the same time, she said, but you don't worry. I understand. And looking at you, I can feel that you are a very sincere and a true child. So I am going to help you. I'm going to make sure that you understand the subject. I will give you personal time and we will do this. Just imagine that lady, would actually, after the college session would get over, would sit down with me. And so did our Lagate ma'am also. I will come to that also eventually. She would sit down on me and on my hand, actually, she would explain, she would draw up with her fingers the format of a balance sheet, the format of a funds flow statement, etc. So that conceptually I become very, very thorough. मतलब लाइबिलिटी है तो किसके नीचे क्या आएगा, किससे कैसे कहाँ से माइनस करेंगे, लेफ्ट में क्या लिखते हैं, राइट में क्या लिखते हैं, एक्सेट्रा. As a result, it was a perseverance of both her and mine. As a result, in the first semester examination for that particular subject, I stood first in the class. I remember I got around 92 on 100. And then I was like, okay, now nothing is impossible. If we really try hard, I think nothing is impossible. My dean had a concern, how will I go for industrial visits and how will I make those presentations? So let me tell you, our group presentations, where I used to be a part of, while other people would help me draw up my PowerPoint or make my PowerPoint for me, I would help them write their speeches or their content. It used to be a win-win situation, and our group would definitely end up getting the highest marks. Industrial visits, I am a very fun-loving person. I'm a very adventurous person, and I did go with my friends, my college people, alone for the industrial visits and took the maximum maza or the maximum learning out of it. Now, towards the end of the first year, when basically the results were out and I got very good scores and everything, I did not pay the fees for my second year. My dean came up to me and asked that, I heard you have not paid the fees. What's the matter? Is there a financial problem you're going through? I said, absolutely no, sir. My father has already given me the money. It's there in my bag, but I'm waiting for your green signal. And he said, what for? And then I reminded him of the deal on the first day. He said, absolutely, I was wrong. We underestimated or we assumed that you will not be able to do things, but we actually need students like you. Please go and seek your admission. Thereafter, second year and the third year were very, very exciting. I also got the best student award a couple of times. I was chosen as the queen of the college. And ultimately, in the third year, which was supposed to be the university examination, uh, my dean, while taking admission, he told me that तुम्हारे वजह से हमारे college का result 100% नहीं आएगा. But that was the day, and I really, I feel so overwhelmed. That was the day in my final year of university examination. I was the one who stood first in the college with a very clear margin. And of course, the college result was 100%. And that's how I became the first blind student in the Mumbai University to do the BMS course. And after me, a lot of other blind students also took up this particular course and were successful. This was a major turning point in my life. And I said, now there is no looking back, now sky is the limit for me. And as far as education is concerned, I went on to do my MBA. I got admission in Jamnalal Bajaj Institute, where, as I told earlier, I met Chaya ma'am, I met Lagate ma'am, and many other professors. Of course, there was a lot of challenges there also, including social challenges. I had some very good friends, some so not very cooperative batchmates, etc. But overall, I always thought that, if you are determined, you are dedicated, and if you have good behavior with others, I think the world is definitely a good place to live in. So, like my accounts teacher, she would help me understand the financial subjects. Similarly, Dr. Kavita Lagate would also, she was our statistics and operational research professor. So similarly, she would also, give me extra time and make me understand the statistics or the OR related subjects. So definitely, there were a lot of people who played important roles in my life, and I acknowledge all of it even today. One very interesting, again, a turning point that I would like to share with you. Um, in my Jamnalal Bajaj journey during the second year, we were all eagerly waiting for the placements. MBA student hai to placement to definitely is a very big concern. Unfortunately, that was the year which got strict by the subprime crisis, 2009, and economic recession had set in, and there were not many companies who were wanting to come onto campus then. However, Bank of Baroda, where I'm currently working, was one organization which was among the few first ones to come on campus, and they were willing to take up students for HR profile. I specialize in HR. So when my placement coordinators told me to get prepared for the interview for Bank of Baroda, I gave them a grinning look and I said, "अरे यार, जमनालाल बजाज से MBA करके मैं वो सरकारी नौकरी थोड़ी करना चाहती हूँ यार, and that too with very less pay. Those, because government organization, government banks, we have our own way of salary, etc. And those times the salaries were not good as well. So my placement coordinator said, देखो ज्यादा कंपनीज आ नहीं रही है, करना है करो, नहीं करना है मत करो. Anyways, then I just sat back, I closed my eyes, and I said, uh, I just introspected whether really I should go for this particular interview. And something within me told me that even if the salary is less, even if it's a public sector organization, I have a feeling that this organization is a very, very positive and a very, good culture organization. And I must give it my definite, I must give my 100% effort to seek this job. I prepared well. While going in the interview, I just made a promise to myself that this is going to be my first and the last interview for this placement season, and I am going to get the job. This was a positive. I do believe in the law of the universe or the law of the attraction. And I sort of sat in the front of the interview panel. My interview lasted for about 30-35 minutes. I carried with me my laptop and my mobile phone, which has a talking software, so that I could show the panel that how I am going to be working independently on the computer or the mobile phone, just as you do. My interview was very good. I demonstrated all my technology skills. I answered to the various questions they posed. There was a question, or rather, during my interview itself, the panel had sort of indicated me that they like my profile and that they are interested in hiring me. Okay. And then they asked that before we close this interview, is there anything that you would want to ask us? And I, with folded hand, took a lot of guts for me, but I did. I said, yes, sir, I have a question. I understand that you are a public sector organization. And as per the government mandate, excuse me, as per the government mandate, you are supposed to recruit persons with disability to fulfill that reservation quota that you have. And I'm blind. So my question to you is, you are recruiting me because I am blind and you can comply with the government regulations after you have given me the job, or you are recruiting me purely and purely because you feel my profile or my skill set is suitable to your job requirements. The senior most person said, why are you asking us this question? I said, because the answer is very simple. and I truly believe that if you are recruiting me because I'm blind and I will be taken into that quota, reservation quota, and be labeled as somebody recruited in the blind category, then I'm extremely sorry. I will not be interested in joining this job, and you can give it to somebody else. But if you are recruiting me only because you feel that I could do justice with my skill set to the job requirement, I'll be extremely happy to join your organization. The panel stood up, they gave me a standing ovation, and they said, Madam, no, that time they called me young lady. So they said, young lady, please be assured that we are only and only recruiting you because of your skill set and your, your profile, and not because you're blind. And we also promise that henceforth, after you join Bank of Baroda, you will never be treated in a special way or treated as somebody who is in the blind category or the reserved category. And I'm so happy to share with you there are very few organizations who actually live up to this promise. I'm so happy to share with all of you that Touchwood, it's been a little more than 12 years now. I joined Bank of Baroda, and not even a single day I would have thought or I felt that I have been treated separately or being treated unfairly or overprotectedly, etc. Okay, some challenges here and there comes up that I will talk about also in another 5 minutes. But I have been given such wonderful assignments, challenging assignments every time. So this was basically my journey from campus to college, campus to corporate. I joined BOB in August 2009, and I joined there as manager HR in the corporate office. For about 6 years, I was in the corporate office. I was responsible. We took certain initiatives, certain employee development related initiatives, certain policies I drafted, and including having a workplace inclusion provision for persons like me. So when I entered the bank did not know before that a blind person can actually use a computer. So when I entered, when I demonstrated them, that's when they purchased the talking software for me, and not just for me, but for other blind people there also. We did a lot of work in terms of empowering the persons with disability. Thereafter, within the 6 years, I did earn one promotion after 3 years of my joining. I earned a promotion to senior manager level, scale 3. And then at the time of my next promotion, that was around 2015, I started feeling that now is the time when I must go down into the field, and not just in the corporate office. I must, as an I'm an HR person, unless I go down at the regional or the grassroots level and understand what the employees are facing or what is the working condition, there is no point in me sitting here and making policies. So then I started telling my seniors that, please give me a regional HR profile. Some of the seniors who were very, very overprotective, some conservative people, they said कि नहीं, आप region वाला profile handle कर नहीं पाओगे, वहाँ पे बहुत सारे union issues होते हैं, there are a lot of disciplinary issues and so many things, because you cannot see, आप नहीं कर पाओगे. Some of them who worked with me said, nahi, you will be able to do. We have full faith in you. So while this discussion was going on, I earned my next promotion to scale 4, chief manager level. Now a trigger so happened that when I went after my promotion to a very senior person, I went for giving sweets. I heard that person murmuring कि हाँ ठीक है चलो promotion हो गया, congratulations, but एक ही city में एक ही profile में रह के कब तक promotion लोगे? So I took it on my ego, not ego, but yes, it hit me that मैंने तो कभी बोला ही नहीं कि आप मुझे transfer मत करो या आप मेरी profile मत change करो. I have been asking for challenging work and I've always been doing it also. So I just told that I'm ready to go wherever the bank wants to transfer me. By the way, as per the government guidelines, if somebody is, first of all, let me say that transfer pan India is one of the nature of the public sector, or a public sector bank job. And you have to be, as an officer, one has to be ready for a transfer anywhere in the country, maybe after 2 years or 3 years. Second thing, as per the government guidelines, persons with disability and some very very select category of people, maybe who have cancer patients or this kind, they are exempted from this periodic transfer. Now in my case, they said that आप एक ही city में रह के कब तक transfer लोगे? So I said I'm okay, I'm absolutely open to forego that exemption from the government and go into any city and work, because I know I am going to, definitely work towards reaching the highest in the organization. And then as a result, I was transferred to Delhi. I was heading one of the very, very difficult regions in Delhi. For about 1 year, I worked in Delhi. Initially, there was a lot of resistance from the union, from the people, from my bosses. कि अरे पूरी तरह से blind लड़की कैसे इतना important place संभालेगी? She'll not be able to do justice. Union people said, अरे इनको पता कैसे चलेगा हमारे issues क्या हैं क्या नहीं? Gradually, maybe it took me around 15-20 days to settle down everything. I made good rapport with the union people. They started posing a lot of confidence in me. Then I was transferred back to Mumbai after 1 year. Again, one of the most difficult regions were given for me to handle. I handled there. And ultimately, the union people who used to complain to the management कि आपने एक fully blind लड़की को इतना important place कैसे दे दिया? Today is the time when the same union people approach to me for any difficult situation that they have, and also they have called me several times to sort of do the felicitation for me, or even once or twice they've also called me to be a motivational speaker to their members. So this was the shift that I had to really work hard on, because I understand that lot of times there are so many inhibitions that you have. कि सामने वाले पर्सन को दिखाई नहीं देता, वो कैसे करेगा, या how do we approach that person, so I had to really understand all of this, accept it fully, and then without being personally affected or personally emotionally taking it to heart, without that I had to practically solve, or rather help people to solve their limiting beliefs that they had about me. Then eventually in 2018, when I thought that chalo, now all the challenges have settled, now I need something more exciting. Before I enter my comfort zone, I think I should be having something more exciting. Then I requested the bank to give me another assignment, and that's where they chose to post me as the head of the training college of the bank in Mumbai. And I last year, that is in 2019, I earned my next promotion to the level of an assistant general manager, and that's how I became the youngest and the first blind employee to reach up to this senior level in the bank. Life, I feel, for me has so far been full of excitement, and I think I have no reasons to complain, because if I look at it in all, it's just one thing that I don't have. वो भी I have my eyes, just that I don't have the light in the eyes. But there are so many other things that are there with me. I have my hands, I have a speaking capability, I can walk, I can understand, I have good people to be with. So I think a lot of times, people ask me that what will happen if you get your eyesight back one day. So my answer to them is that, see, I'm a HR professional. So I'll talk to you in the HR parlance. Basically, I'm anyways enjoying a good, handsome salary, not in terms of what I get from the bank, but handsome salary in the way of a good life. If I get my eyesight back, it's just going to be a one-time bonus or a one-time incentive, nothing beyond that. This is what I always say. And I always believe in one thing that, I'll just end my monologue with this last line of mine, and then I'll be very happy to take your questions. I always believe that, there's so many festivals that we celebrate in India. Diwali, Eid, Holi, Christmas, etc. Each of those festivals is celebrated on a particular day. है ना? वो दिन खत्म हो जाता है तो वो त्योहार भी खत्म हो जाता है. And of course, we wait for the next festival. But there is one festival that I think we can celebrate every day, every minute, every second. हर पल हम एक त्योहार को मना सकते हैं. And that festival, वो पर्व जो है, वो त्योहार जो है, that festival according to me is a festival of life. Our life, हमारी जिंदगी एक बहुत अच्छा पर्व है, एक बहुत अच्छा फेस्टिवल है जिसको हम हर पल मना सकते हैं. And I think if we truly believe that, this world and this life is the best place to be in. So so with this, I will, halt my monologue and would really sincerely like to thank all of you for a patient hearing. And I'll be very happy, glad to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Nikita. What a spontaneous way of sharing your story, the story of your challenges, your adventures, of how you got opportunities. Thank you so much for sharing. It's truly inspiring for each one of us at different levels, I'm sure. In fact, I'll say that you have turned the dismay and shock of your family members into pride. From oh ji ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਤੀਸਰੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ to turning them into यार ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਕੁੜੀ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਕਮਾਲ ਹੀ ਕਰ ਦਿੱਤਾ.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so happy. Yes, this did happen because after I got this award also now, the President's Award, I think a lot of my family members, जिनको बहुत सालों से भी नहीं मिले, they gave a call and they said that it's such a matter of pride for us that somebody in our family has this, has achieved
Yes.
this. So yes, I'm so happy that things turned out very positively for me.
Absolutely. And in describing your journey, you have shared how you have converted your adversity into opportunities, like realizing that you have a corporate dream when children were not playing with you. That was the turning point for you, and realizing that you have a strength, that you're good at strategizing in adversity. That is truly exemplary. That's really amazing.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Now you have transformed your disability into ability, and it's a clear message that disability is not any kind of obstacle to success. You have made बहुत बड़े statements at different stages of your life, from getting admissions in school to college to your higher education, and बहुत बड़े काम करे हैं आपने to prove that you have whatever it takes to deliver whatever you promised. So you have made everyone proud. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you know what, Nikita, your story has it doesn't just bring hope for people who need help, or it doesn't just pave way for others to be hopeful, but it also kind of gives us a message in two, three different ways. One is, of course, any physical disability is not really a challenge if you accept it, if you have determination. But on the other hand, people who have given you opportunities, who have shown faith in you, who have believed in you, it's again a reminder to all of us that let us not get color our mind with the perceptions that we make, or judgments that we make about a person, and let us give the other person the opportunity and the help that they deserve. And in fact, I'll say that there is a third hidden message, a secret message in your story. And that is that irrespective of whether we have any disability that people can see or not, but we all at some level or the other live with a lot of inhibitions in our mind, where we think that, I cannot do this, I cannot go there, I cannot be there. So I think this is a message for everyone, irrespective of whatever challenges you have, that if you have the adventurous spirit, if you have determination, then there is no way anyone could stop you. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
I will take the questions from the audience, and I'll start with Indranil ji, where he wants to know what are your future plans now.
Okay. Thanks for this question. So, see, on a narrower side, yes, my job is there. I'll be definitely continuing my job. I'm currently pursuing my PhD. And my topic of the PhD is also such which I thought should go beyond my degree. That's workplace inclusion of persons with disability. So that's there. And then a lot of people, requested, have been telling me since couple of years that you have an inspiring story. So why don't you write a book? So currently I'm also in the process of writing my book or penning down my story, that I shared with you in a form of a book. Um, then I am into music. I sing. So maybe I'll love to do something in that front also. And on the larger picture, yes, I have a dream that I must definitely do something, something which can impact, which can create an impact in the society, not entirely, but yes, at least impact in the society for some group of people. Because society has given me so much, and I believe it's my time now to give back to the society. So, especially in the field of education and vocation for the underprivileged and the persons with disability. So let's see how things turn out. बट यस मैं ये कहना चाहूंगी कि अभी तो सिर्फ शुरुआत की है मैंने, अभी बहुत सारी मंजिल हासिल करना बाकी है.
Absolutely. And he also wants to know what is the message that you want to give to the new generation?
The message that I want to give to the new generation, I mean, this is just my thought, not a prescription at all, is that, firstly, believe in yourself and don't get carried away by those momentary happiness or momentary frustrations. आज अगर मेरे पास एंड्रॉइड का फोन है, मेरे फ्रेंड के पास आईफोन है और मुझे आईफोन नहीं मिल रहा, मेरे पेरेंट्स नहीं दे पा रहे, तो मैं सैड हो जाऊंगा, मैं घर पे बात नहीं करूंगा, मैं तोड़फोड़ करूंगा. या यू नो आज मुझे आईफोन मिल गया, मैं बहुत खुश हूँ, मैं पूरा दिन इस पे इंस्टाग्राम पे रहूंगा, पबजी खेलूंगा और मैं दुनिया की फिक्र नहीं करूंगा. आई थिंक लेट्स नॉट बी दैट शॉर्ट साइटेड. So we got to be more matured, and ultimately देखो, I've always believed that we expect others to love us, others to care for us, others to respect us, but do we actually do that for ourselves? हम अपने साथ टाइम बिताते हैं? हम पूरा टाइम सोशल मीडिया पे रहते हैं टू सी व्हाट अदर्स आर डूइंग, फेसबुक पे क्या चल रहा है, इंस्टा पे लोगों को फॉलो करते हैं, बट हम डू वी एक्चुअली even spend 10 minutes of a quiet silent talk with our own self? I think it really helps if we do that. I don't want to be sounding I don't want to be sounding prescriptive at all, but yes, these are some of my things that I always be mindful of, and that's how I thought I can share it.
So from this, I'll extend the question for especially for those who are visually impaired. And this question again comes from the audience. How do you suggest a campus to corporate program can be conducted for visually impaired students?
So see,
the transition,
the transition, right? So first of all, talking about the student part of it, so there are two things. One is the attitudinal part, and the other one is the skill part. So definitely this knowing technology, using the computer, etc., is very, very imperative in today's time. So every person with visual impairment must be able to work independently on a computer, just as a sighted counterpart. Second is the attitudinal part. While I also conduct a lot of sensitization programs for the corporates, sensitizing them that how do you actually assimilate a PWD, a person with disability, in your team or in your organization. At the same time, because I represent both the parties, I represent the group of being a physically challenged, and also I represent the corporate side being in the HR.
Yes.
So on one hand, while I do this sensitization programs for the corporates, on the other hand, I do a lot of mentoring for the persons with disability, not just visually impaired, but all sort of disability, where I'm very curt in saying that, see, don't expect that just because you are a disabled person या आप में कुछ कमी है, people should be sympathetic towards you. You cannot take people for granted, and डेफिनेटली जहाँ बाकी लोगों को 100% एफर्ट डालना पड़ेगा, हमें डेफिनेटली 100% से ज्यादा एफर्ट डालना ही पड़ेगा. सो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट दैट वी हैव टू बी मेंटली प्रिपेयर्ड कि हमें चैलेंजेस आएंगे और हमें उसे बहुत ही ऑब्जेक्टिवली हमें इसे फेस करना है. So somebody just gave me a call the other day, and some employee said कि मैडम मुझे बहुत दिक्कत है, मेरे को हरास कर रहे हैं, ऐसा कर रहे हैं, वैसे कर रहे हैं. सर क्या हो गया, व्हाट इज द इशू? मुझे लेट बिठाते हैं, मुझे. देन अल्टीमेटली आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू 15 minutes, he was visually impaired. After listening to 15 minutes of his talk, then I said, so and so, मुझे अभी तक समझ नहीं आ रहा कि एक्चुअल में प्रॉब्लम क्या है. Then he told me, मैडम माय प्रॉब्लम इज कि मुझे नॉर्मल लोगों की तरह ट्रीट किया जाता है. सो आई सेड ये प्रॉब्लम कब से हो गई, ये तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. तो देन दे सेड कि मैडम वो भूल जाता है ना कि मैं ब्लाइंड हूँ तो मुझे कम काम देना चाहिए. मैंने कहा क्यों, तुमने कभी बोला है कंपनी को कि मैं ब्लाइंड हूँ तो मुझे कम सैलरी दो, या मैं ब्लाइंड हूँ तो मुझे प्रमोशन मत देना? मैंने कहा एक्सपेक्ट जब सब करते हो तो फिर अपने आप को अलग या अपने आप को बेचारा क्यों मानते हो? So then I had to give him the piece of the dose that he had to receive, and then later on he called and said, "Madam, अब सब ठीक है." So it's mainly about the mindset things. अगर हमें 10 जने अच्छे मिल रहे हैं तो हमें 20 जन ऐसे भी होंगे who are not interested in helping us. So what? I've had cases in my college where one of the days, one fine day, one girl walks up to tell and tells me I had an argument with for some other reason. उसको कुछ इनर इश्यूज थे मेरे साथ, ठीक है, होंगे, आई रिस्पेक्ट दैट. शी हैड द ऑडेसिटी टू कम एंड टेल मी दैट कितनी बार ऐसा होता है कि मैं तुझे वॉशरूम लेके जाती हूँ तो भी तो मेरा एहसान भूल गई. मुझे वो चीज बहुत पेन हुई कुछ टाइम के लिए. एंड देन आई सेड ठीक है, दिस इज हर पर्सपेक्टिव. अगर उसे लगता है कि वो वॉशरूम ले जाना मुझे एहसान करती है तो दैट्स हर थिंग. वो मतलब वो उसकी सोच है, उसमें मुझे क्रिप करके फायदा नहीं है. सो अल्टीमेटली यू हैव टू बी प्रिपेयर्ड दैट पीपल आर नॉट गोइंग टू हेल्प यू एट एवरी टाइम. इफ दे हेल्प, please give something back to them in return, not in cash or money etc, but in some other way. So it's important that you start feeling that you are a part of the world. हम कोई अलग कम्युनिटी या हम कोई अलग एलियन नहीं है. So
Absolutely.
I don't know, I
Great. So,
have my own ways of hammering on to things. So
no, you talk absolute sense, and good thing is that you speak really well, not just to others but also to your own mind. So, in fact, Indranil ji, he is a part of our Bombay Management Association Executive Committee. And sir, you would like to say something?
Yeah, see, this is not only a inspirational story or motivational story. When I was going to listen to her, I felt that yes, it is a reality of life. It happens almost with everybody. She may be visually impaired, but we are also having some disability, because of that. Maybe so many times we are not able to do. But my question, what I wanted to know is basically because in corporate, especially in private sector, and now she is not in fully private sector because she is in a PSU bank. Yes. Right? In private sector, especially in multinational companies, corporate etiquettes is considered to be one of the important things. Yes, now, my question was, when I asked about college to corporate training, I was wanting that type of thing for college to corporate training program. How you give training for corporate etiquettes to a blind person? So that was my question basically. So can you throw some light on that?
Yes, sir. So basically, see, the content would remain same. The only thing is the way we explain a couple of things may be slightly different. Like if we have to say, instead of, for example, a simple thing, how do you dress up formally? Instead of showing the picture of being a formally dressed up person, maybe if you can describe a little more of what is actually a formal attire to a person with visual impairment, I think that will help.
How will tell the color?
That can be said, sir. I mean, now
see, as for example, for male, the color of the suit generally accepted is either blue or blue with stripes or black. That is accepted corporate attire. Now, a visually impaired person who cannot see the color, how that person will pick up the color? That is another question.
So it depends, sir. देखिए केस टू केस बेसिस पे डिपेंड करता है कि वो अपनी शॉपिंग किस तरह करते होंगे. Now if you ask me, for example,
Yeah.
I know for sure what sort of colors suit me, what don't. And though I'm 100% blind, I've never seen colors. If you see me anytime in person, my everything will be well coordinated, right from my hair clip to my foot shoes would be well color matched with my attire and my including my lipstick, etc. So it now I cannot give you a uniform answer for the same, but yes,
Okay.
there are certain universal things which every person has to know. I mean, for example, a blind person will definitely appreciate and understand this, that yes, if you're going for a corporate interview, you are not supposed to wear something which is very, very shiny and shimmery and a red color. You're supposed to wear something which is, more soothing. So obviously, if a person is going to the shop to buy apparels for him, he can say that yes, I want a black color coat or I want a blue color shirt, etc. So, and then, I mean, of course, due to proximity of time, I'll have to cut this short here. But yes, if you want, I mean, I don't know how things work, but if you want to do a pilot program like this, I'll be more than happy to design something with you
Right.
from Bombay Management Association. We can definitely work on something, especially for
Right.
a VIP.
We'll keep it in mind. Definitely in the future, we'll do
Yes,
that.
of course. I'll
Right?
be more than happy to help.
Right. And another thing, small thing I wanted to know is, because in this BMA program, few months back, there was another program where one cricket coach who organizes cricket for the blinds. That person came and was talking about how cricket is played. So do you have, Ben, you said that your friends were not calling you for playing. Do you get at that time, do you get any type of such things? That means some ball which makes sound so that you can play.
हाँ सर, वो चीजें थी थोड़ी बहुत मेरे पास. I did have those things, but there the problem was not of मतलब the apparatus. The problem with the friends were of the attitude, the inhibition. कि इसका हाथ पकड़ के हम कहाँ इसको लेके जाते रहेंगे पूरा टाइम. हम भागेंगे तो ये कैसे भागेगी.
अच्छा. Okay, fine.
तो और उन दिनों में जैसे बहुत सारी अवेयरनेस नहीं होती थी अभी. I mean, we never heard of a cricket team for the blinds during that time. अभी तो ठीक है, we have a lot of things now, but things evolved over a period of time. But yes, it was more of a attitudinal part than anything.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
So considering that we have very limited time, but before we end, I request you have two very great mentors over here attending this session. So
Yes.
I request them to just quickly say something, say whatever message you want to give. Chaya, Kavita ma'am.
Okay. So Nikita, it was a joy to listen to you. Okay, and you're just the same. How many years back you passed out?
Ma'am, 2009 I passed out. 12 years.
12 years, right? And is the same feisty you. Very confident, very convinced. I mean, if you don't tell anybody, nobody will know that you can't see. The way you talk, it's like you can see everything, and that's the thing about sight. The way you have conducted your life, and the kind of attitude that you have developed, okay, it is like you don't really need a physical sight. You need a vision to look into what you have, and you need a vision to look into always the positive side of the thing, and that is something that which has nothing to do with the physical sight.
Right.
And that's the way you have proved, how a life can be an accomplished life, how a life can be happy life. And if you talk about these two things, the happiness and the success, and if you have all of that, which is what is showing on your face, it's glowing, right? Then
Yes,
how does it matter whether you don't have a sight, or you don't have a limb, or you are not able to hear, or you're not able to talk? In fact, looking at you today, I realized why they said that you shouldn't be saying that the person is disabled. You should be saying person is differently abled.
Yes.
And that's how you are. So stay like that. My best
Thank
wishes
you, ma'am.
and blessings. We are very, very proud of you. Very, very proud of you. Yeah.
Thank you
Good
so
luck.
much.
Good luck.
Thank
Best
you.
wishes.
Thank you. Means a lot to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Supriya.
Thank you. Kavita ma'am, if you're there, if it's possible for you, I think, okay, I think she's not available at the moment, but I'm sure her best wishes are with you. With
Sure.
this, I'd like to end this session today. And again, thanking our speaker, Nikita Rath. Thank you very much for sparing time and giving such good message. And BMA streams this live on YouTube, and we'll be uploading this content in future on YouTube. And we'd like to take this, make this content reach more and more people, to inspire more people, and in fact, in whichever way it helps at any level personally.
Sure.
So with this, thank you everyone. I'd like to thank the audience also. Thanks for joining and listening to Nikita. And please do join us every Wednesday on Wednesday Wisdom webinars conducted by Bombay Management Association. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your patient listening. And thank you, BMA, for having me here.
Thanks.
Thanks.